Yo, welcome to You. This is me. Today on episode, we have a fellow roommate of mine actually in Afghanistan, Colt. And I know he gets tripped out when I call him Colt, but it feels natural for me to call him Colt over Clancy or Cheek. I like the way Clancy hits, but Colt, I like it. So what's up, man? How you been?
I've been great, man. How about you?
Not bad, man. We had a moment to catch up. We obviously have a lot in common, surprisingly. We talked about bodybuilding, talked about health, talked about fitness. Got to see what you're up to, your flying and all that nonsense. So we're good, man. I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Just living life every day and working and taking care of wife and kid. Just trying to enjoy everything.
Nice, man. How's the family doing?
They're doing good. Just kid's almost 5 years old, so he's at a really cool age. And the wife's doing good, and we're just working and enjoying life really with each other.
Nice, man. How's the pilot stuff going?
Good, I mean, to go to work and like enjoy what they do, So I feel very, very blessed. It was a long run. Don't get me wrong. Ate a lot of Roman noodles and beans, kind of thing to get there. But I'm glad I stuck with it. And if you believe in something and you want something, you can accomplish.
That's good, man. That's good. Besides the pilot stuff, what else have you got going on?
Not too much. I mean, I got the wife. I'm not down here. Stated earlier, I live in Colorado and Mexico, so it's a week on and a week off. So when I'm not flying or not at work, I go back home and kids got, but I help the wife out, of just doing everyday house things, and we like to hike and everything. Colorado is a great state for hiking and biking and anything outdoors. I love to fish and hunt and things like that. I'm kind of an outdoors guy. I like to be outdoors.
You don't say.
And the kid, yeah, and the kid loves it. The kid loves it. He's a chip off the old block, as they say. He's ornery, so I tell he gets it from her, not me. I'm not ornery. I'm a good guy. But anyways, I mean, that's pretty much it, man. Just trying to live and enjoy life with the wife and kid and stuff. Me and my son have four-wheelers. Later we'll talk about. I ended up with Alex four-wheeler, Alex Catherwood. And Colton has his own four-wheeler now, and we go and that much. I just kind of go out to an open area and sit there. But that's how he got started liking four-wheelers, man. I used to take him and put him on my lap in front of me, and we would ride Alex four-wheeler around. And, that was just something else that he gave me, in life.
Nice, man. Is that something that Gretchen and Kurt gave you?
Yeah, so we got back, and I went and visited them as soon as we got back from weeks. We had to stay there, for a couple of weeks after we first got back, and they all the head shrinks wanted to stick mind probe. No, I'm just kidding. They didn't stick anything in me, but you know what I mean. They wanted to make sure we weren't going to beat our wives or drink ourselves to death, kind of thing. And but no, I went there and took Alex battlefield cross and boots that I had made him in Afghanistan. They still have it. But anyways, I went and I saw them. I met all the people in Byram and went to Alex's final resting place. At that time, the Catherwoods were still living in that same house that he grew up in. So I got to go and actually meet his family, meet his friends, everybody that he had grown up with. And we'd just gotten back from deployment, so I had a little bit of extra money, but God bless him. I was like, I'd like to, to buy Alex four-wheeler, so I'll have it, just something of Alex. And they said, because they got rid of the four-wheeler, they gave it to me, and then they also gave I don't know for sure. I don't know if they gave it to Bronson, one of his really good friends he grew up with in Byram, or if he bought what, like how that ended. He ended up with the truck though,
Okay.
because Gretchen, from what I understood from them, Gretchen had said, that she didn't want that stuff around. It was too hard for her. So, and Alec had always talked about his four-wheeler and like how he wanted to fix it up and all this other stuff. And so at the time, I just felt like, that I wanted to keep it a part of Alec in a way, because he loved that thing. Because we were young, we were 18, not, so girls and vehicles and stuff were what we were all about,
Yeah, of course.
So anyways, a couple of his friends from Byram actually drove that thing all the way from Illinois to Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
At the time. Yeah. And they brought it down there and it stayed at my parents for a long time. But anyway, kind of getting off subject, but
No.
I have it now and have it, put a lot of work into it and things that Alec wanted to do to it. And I'm still gonna, one of these days I plan on, kind of making it sort of like a museum piece, drain all the oil and gas out of it and maybe get like customize it to where it looks like something you don't want to run through a mud hole kind of thing. Keep it forever, So
who drove up the bike? Was it like Jeffrey and Jerry and all the rest of them, or
who? What now? Jeff. It was Jeff. It was Jeff Reek and then Saunders.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, those two guys drove it down. I didn't even know they were going to do it. I was just going to arrange for like a semi or something or not a semi, but a moving company or something to bring it to Oklahoma, because at the time I was on leave and my truck and all that stuff was still out in California and everything. So I was like, okay, how am I going to get it down there now?
Yeah, of course.
But they just loaded it up that night, drove all night, and then my parents fed them and everything. And then they got back in their, like, dropped it off, got back in their truck and drove all the way back that night. So, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, Jeffrey's a good dude, man. Jeff's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. I unfortunately, I don't talk. I keep up with him on Facebook, like everybody else. But unfortunately, I don't talk to anybody as nearly as much as I should. But everybody's got lives, and you know how it is. You don't know if they're busy or what, So you're like, you think about them for a little while, and you say, or at least I do. I say a little prayer for them in my head, like I hope they're doing good and kind of thing, and then go on. So.
Yeah,
but
I spoke to him maybe about 2 weeks ago. I didn't know he had got married already, and his child was on the way already. He had a baby coming. Yeah, man. So, they're good people. They're good people. I was very honored to meet those people out in Byram. Very good people. Great hospitality. Just awesome folks. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, they're type of people that they'll give you the shirt off their back, and it's a genuine love and just appreciation. It's not like they're putting on a show or whatnot. If I lost everything tomorrow and I was like, I need a place to stay, my family, which my parents and stuff, they would, but what I'm getting at.
Yeah, exactly.
If I needed to go there and live, like they would be like, come on, you need me to come and get you? Like, can you make it here? Like, what do you need?
Yeah, we saw how Jerry and all the rest of them took care of us.
Yeah, they did. We all went out for that reunion, for a couple of years ago, and they let us hang out, and it was great time. It's great to see everybody.
Awesome time. Yeah. The only shitty part of that whole experience was I had to get a new phone as soon as I got back, which I still waited like a whole year for, because that rain destroyed it. Like, my stupid ass went to take it out and look for, I guess someone lost their phone. So we all started looking for it, and all that rain just destroyed my phone. I was like, oh, crap. I was like, whatever. Yeah, man. It was a great time, dude.
It was a great time. We got to catch up, and I think there were some videos made that night once the alcohol got flowing. Yeah, those will stay between us though. But yeah, we had a good time, and I wish more people from 3-5 or from Kilo Company could have made it,
Yeah.
out. Maybe later on.
maybe next time we can re-link up, and maybe we can get people to go out there that we've had on podcasts or not had on podcasts, and maybe we can get people to talk shit and find out what happened, because I didn't get to go with you guys to Tonga, so I want to find out what actually happened out there. So if there's stories that happen out there, I'd totally be down to find out, man. And then obviously I've been everywhere else with you guys, so yeah, dude. And that's the kind of shit I want to find out, is like what happened when I wasn't around, and what you guys saw and all that nonsense. Because I know there's a lot of crazy shit that you guys went through and everything, man.
Shenanigan level was always, super high, super high.
Well, yeah. And then we had people like
in the Marine Corps and being young, and you get to enjoy that part of it. You're like, oh, you almost feel like you're still in high school or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just older guys and like still 18-year-olds, you're like, how the sergeant's 25, 26, and he's still, kind of like he's 18, you kind of just like don't age, but age a lot in the Marine Corps kind of thing. It grows you up and keeps you young at the same time. You got to joke about it in a way, or else you would take it too seriously, I think. And if we ever actually realized what we were there to do, it wouldn't have been as fun.
Yeah.
When we got started, so
I feel you, man. It's fucking awesome, dude. That's awesome. You're just like, oh, here come the memories.
I know, man. It does. It floods you, and it's so many flashes. We were talking before we started, and almost 10 years since Sangin it went down, and it's like, God, and it's still yesterday. Some things that happened in my mind and in my heart, and just all the years of shenanigans, and then the negative stuff kind of overshadows that. So it's hard to pick and choose through the memories to tell your brain and your heart, like, okay, remember that because that was funny as hell, but get rid of that. I don't want to think about that again. Like it kind of, you got to take the good with the bad, and being able for you, thankfully you did this, and you have this platform for us, but it's kind of a way for us to remember that good stuff, with the bad, and talk about that as well, I think.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. But yeah, I hope this helps. Like, I honestly do, because like, it's true. We do hold on to we remember all the negative stuff and the bad a lot and frequently, just because it really impacted us. Yeah, I know like the good stuff really didn't impact us, so it's kind of hard. But when we do remember, we're like, oh, that's right. We do remember that. And yeah, you're right. We should try to remember the good over the bad. But just like many people, I am at fault. It's easier, and we mostly remember the bad because it feels like it's the most impact over everything else. Make sense? So yeah, we just dwell on that a little bit more. We're human. We're people.
Yeah, for sure. I think, for veterans or for anybody, to me, trauma's trauma. I mean, whether it's somebody that's a rape victim or a car wreck victim, everybody handles trauma or whatever you want to call it different, or experiences. Yeah. And I tell people every day, just try to challenge yourself and look at what you have versus what you don't have. And that's what's kept me going over the years. Nobody, yes, we're veterans. We served our country, and we did a good job at what we were doing over there. But, don't live off that. You know what I mean? Don't live off your past. Make yourself better today. You know what I mean? Like, I think about a lot of, you read books and you look at the warriors past, and the true warrior mentality is no matter what is to win. Whether that be at life, whether that be at, if you want to be a ballerina dancer, by all means, be the best. You know what I mean? If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly bear. You know what I mean?
Why a grizzly bear?
Because they're the baddest, man. If you're going to be a bear, be grizzly. Be the biggest, baddest one you can be, So I try to focus on what's in front of me. And it don't get me wrong, it's so hard. I had that battle, which we'll get into later on in the discussion, but I had battles with alcohol, with all that stuff after the fact. And trying to find myself and who I was now. It's like, okay, I'm not overseas. I'm not kicking indoors and, carrying a machine gun anymore. I'm here and this is what I'm supposed to do, and that was a hard adjustment for me because I had become so much of a certain person, trying to get back to a neutral state to figure out who I was now was very demanding. And at a young age, a lot of people think drugs or alcohol or things like that will help, and it just masks it, is what I've found. So, everybody has their own journey, man. I just hope I can be there and like you're doing this, and other veterans or anybody just try to tell them to find something they want to do, and move on. Just try to never forget, but move on and try to make the best out of your life, man, because you only get one. And, I always, I think of Alec a lot, like I said, every day. I mean, I carry his coin. I carry his picture in my pocket. I carry him in my heart, everywhere I go. And I know that it's so hard for me, but I know that if Alec, we had a lot of conversation. We knew each other in and out. We were always together. And I know that Alec, he loved his job. He wanted to be a Marine when he was young more than anything. That was, and we woke up every day, and his gung-ho-ness made me a good Marine because I fed off of him. I would wake up in the morning at 4:00 and we had been drinking all night, and I'm like, oh my, in formation, you know what I mean? Or I don't want to put my uniform on that good. Catherwood, just stop doing that, But there I was, I couldn't let him outdo me, the alpha male kind of thing, bigger stick. So there we are outside, and we're yelling at the top of our lungs and everything like that. And people are like, is this guy being a smart ass, or is he really like this all the time? And they're like, yes, no, they do that all the time. That you. Like, are you being disrespectful? I'm like, no, they're like that all the time. But,
I still sorry to cut you off, but I remember, like how you said, he loved his job. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I'm assuming it was his first helicopter ride. He was sitting across from me, a few seats down, and I look over at him, and he's wiggling his feet, laughing, looking around with the biggest smile. And I look over at him, I'm like, why the fuck you laughing, bitch? And he just goes, I'm happy. And someone whispers in my ear, this is his first helicopter ride. He loves this shit. Let him be happy. And I go, fine. It blew my mind how happy he was, dude.
He was a kid in a candy store, and he found the good in anything, and there were times like, dude, we were in SOI together, and because of his like happiness all the time, it got us in a lot of trouble, man. We like, how many push-ups I did because that kid was always in a good mood, bro? And we were together. So it's like, good, you're his sister, push with him, And dude, like one time we had to put in a fighting position, and we had to put it in like the middle. They made us do ours in the middle of a dirt road. So it was packed, like hard. And they're like, yeah. And so we're digging, like, it took us all goddamn day. Like, we did this range movement at 04 in the morning. We get there by 06, and all day we spend digging this hole. And finally, we get done with this hole and everything, and he's, like, still in a good... Then it starts raining. Of course, when you're in the field, it's going to rain. Like, that's how it goes, And we put our poncho liner and tarp up above our hole to try to stay dry. And of course, no such thing in the Marine Corps, no luxuries. They're like, the enemy can see the reflection of that from far away. Take it down. So we're sitting there in the rain together, and like you're going to have to do 20 hours of weapons maintenance because your old rust buckets are getting wet, and they're going to be orange in the morning.
Yeah.
And, I had gum in at the time, and like I was pissed, like super pissed off, and Alec looked at me, and like we had just did something and we had to do push-ups or whatever. It got IT'd and we were all muddy and everything. And he looked at me dead in the eye. I'm not kidding you. And he's like, well, at least you didn't drop your bubble gum. Like, yeah, I mean, he can just find the good situation in anything, you know. Great, you know. And I think I'm moving on a little farther than what I wanted to get going. But yeah, that's what I have to say about that, I guess.
No, man, and that's what I gotta say.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump,
I'm
you're good.
simple like that.
What's that?
I said I'm kind of simple like that, like Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that.
Yep. This is the way. Yeah, man. No, it's good, man. It's good. Yeah, but you're right. He really would find like some kind of humor in anything. And if he wasn't trying to do that, it was just the way he would conduct himself. That was like, dude, this guy is literally smiling while all the rest of us are hating our life. Like, how the hell does that happen? That's actually one thing that I actually spoke with Aaron. I'm gonna have a conversation with you, and then Gretchen and Kurt. I was like, you know what? I being the most miserable person around, and I never smiled. I go, I've always would look towards fucking Catherwood just to see him with the smile. So it'd be like, all right, it's not that bad, and I'll just keep going. I never said anything. Just like, I ain't that bad. And just keep going. Because if he was smiling, there was some kind of hope. If he wasn't smiling, it's like, oh man, this situation sucks.
Yeah, it's a bad deal. Yeah, if that kid ever stopped, you know. But you know, and he like, I mean, there's just I mean, I hate to beat a dead horse, and we're gonna talk about him later with everything that happened. But shit, man, like you just, it's hard to make people understand, you know, because I think that a lot of times, if someone is lost unexpectedly, or sometimes people are, they may not have lived life a certain way, but then they are still, I guess, praised that a certain way. You know what I mean?
Lost me a little bit.
Well, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like like me, I was a shithead growing up, and I mean, my family loved me and everything, and I had friends and everything like that. But if somebody showed up to my funeral and was like, he always had a smile on his face, and you know what I mean, like that's not Clancy, or that's, you know, like he was grumpy most of the time, like things like that. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes if somebody's lost, or that's what I mean by they're played up. But Alec was not that way. I mean, that's what I try to tell when I, you know, you tell somebody he was good as gold, or he was one of the best of us, that it was truly that way. Like he was the light, a ray of sunshine in any situation. And it sucks. It really does. Especially when you look at how you are.
Yeah. No, that's actually very true, because I actually take how you said that there. We weren't extremely close. We were friends. We were together since Iraq, together and everything. And a lot of his friends that he hung out with that weren't in his group, I would hang out with that were in my group, meaning Abate. He was a sniper. I was not. I was infantry. But during the time where he was regular basic infantry, so was I, and we went to Iraq together. I've always was very fascinated with how he conducted himself, because he didn't see rank, he didn't see age, he didn't see any of that. Everyone literally was a dude. Everyone literally had a purpose in life, and everyone had no harm. Unless you showed him that you were trying to harm him or those around him, he would let you know real quick what can happen to you. But he never resorted with violence first. It was always, what's up, bro? What's it going? Yeah. Big ass smile. Yeah. Made you feel warm. That always blew my mind, and I always wondered, how is it that I can reach that kind of level of, and I call it peace, because he had reached a level of peace that most of us haven't reached yet, because he had seen the good in people and we just see the bad in most.
Yeah.
That always fascinated me. But yeah, I understand that completely.
Yeah. You know, people are raised different ways. I was raised, I was raised in Oklahoma. Everybody that I knew were cowboys, ranchers, things like that. So everybody had that attitude, I guess, about them. If you watch like those people grew up watching like John Wayne movies and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of, mentality that I guess I was raised with and watched and observed. You know what I mean? You had to act, you had to walk the walk and talk the talk. You know what I mean? Which everybody, pre-military, when I was in Oklahoma, that's how they knew me. I may not have won all the time, but I would fight at the drop of a hat. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't back down. I wouldn't, none of that. You know what I mean? And then I felt like to be tough, I had to act tough. Like I had to display that all the time. Like I have the bigger stick and let everybody know that. But I could also handle myself as well. But it's just, it doesn't do anybody any good. Because like I said, you meet these people, like I met Alec, and this kid was a goofy, like you could get along with him kind of guy, but yet when it came to doing range movements, he was still in the front with me when we were hiking a long ways or whatever. So like I knew that he still had grit. So he was tough. He walked, I call it, well, my wife calls it, walk softly but carry a big stick, And so Alec really taught me that way, and I kind of loosened up a lot. Like if somebody, if it goes that way and I have to defend myself or my family, then I know that I can. But these days, I mean, I just meet people and I laugh and smile and I don't. It doesn't bother me if somebody thinks I'm tough or if they think I'm a big sissy. You know what I mean? Like I don't care what they think. Because you know yourself a little more. Like what we did and went through, not many people have done, or So I think it's really just maturity.
Understandable.
Because when you're young, like everybody in my county where I went to hike, like they knew who I was. You know what I mean? But I thought to myself, well, out in the real world, like nobody knows me or how tough I am. And that's really what led me into going into the Marine Corps. That, and I've played football my whole life. And I had that camaraderie kind of thing. And then I got out of school, high school, and there was in the workforce, there wasn't that camaraderie kind of thing. And there wasn't like a team kind of thing, and I wasn't serving a higher purpose than myself. I was just collecting a paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I wasn't helping anyone. And I think that if you're, of age and you're able to do it, I think that you should fight for your country. I still stand behind the fact that now I don't really believe that an 18-year-old signing that piece of paper really knows what they're getting themselves into. Especially if they're going to combat or if they join in a time of war, they don't know what they're asking for. But thank God we live here and people still, feel the need to the patriotic, sense, and they go and fight our wars, So, and that's what kind of led me into it. And I was like, man, and then I got to the Marine Corps and I got a real big awakening, But I like the challenge. I'm like, okay, in a den of wolves. Of course, when you get to the actual Marine Corps, you're like, you signed up for the Marine Corps? Like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, who is this guy? Like, who?
It's a rude awakening.
Like, that I wanted to be the best, and I was like, if I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna, I want to train and fight alongside the best and other wolves, as I put it at the time. You're either a sheep or a wolf, or a wolf dog or a sheepdog. I mean, and I wanted to be, help protect America and all that, the patriotic stuff. Of course, when you get there, it's a little different. You want to keep your brothers alive and see your family again, kind of thing. It's a little bit different. But yeah, that's. Pretty much, again, pretty much what I have to say about that.
So, Oklahoma, is that home? Is that original home?
Yeah. Born and bred. Yeah.
Where
Born and
at?
bred. Southern Oklahoma. So
Okay.
outside of Ardmore, this little bitty town called Gene Autry, like the country
Okay.
western singer.
Okay.
Uh, it had it doesn't even have a stoplight. It has a stop sign. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. If you blink, you'll miss it, bro. Blink, you'll miss it.
I like the
No,
sound.
no doubt. All farmland and ranch land. That's about it. So.
Nice. Well, mine's mixture. We just recently started putting in stoplights. Was still only stop signs. On the backside is all farms, and this side they're trying to build like city, and it's failing. It's failing. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, I like it. I like going this way to my house. What's up?
I said everywhere is growing. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. It's getting ridiculous. But Oklahoma. So why did you choose to go to Colorado? Is it just because of the job, or?
So I when I got out of the Marine Corps, I just decided that I was going to go to college. And I originally did move back to Oklahoma at first because I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to go to school for. It was kind of when I got out of the Marine Corps, it was an adjustment for me. And I knew the parameters of what I wanted to do. I didn't know exactly. I couldn't put my finger on, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And I was still 22 years old. You know what I mean? Like that's still young to try to figure out, I guess, what you want to do forever. But I knew that I wanted to help people. I wanted to be outside. I still wanted to something with adrenaline so I could still feel alive, couldn't sit in a cubicle all day, kind of thing.
Is that why you joined the Marines, or did you pick because you had other influences?
No, I mean, huh?
I said, is that why you chose to go to the Marines, or is it you had other influences?
No, I'm saying those set of, I guess, parameters were what I gained from the Marine Corps, like moving on after, because you asked me
Oh,
why I moved to Colorado. But I knew I wanted to go to college. I originally moved to Oklahoma, but then I moved to Colorado because my wife's family, they live there, and the school that I went to flight school to fly helicopters, and I wanted to either train in Colorado or Utah because that is high altitude, and if you can fly high altitude, you can fly anything. So most EMS or medevac companies require you to have 300 to 400 hours over 5,000 feet density altitude to apply to their companies. Okay. So I was like, well, I'll just knock that right out of the gate. So I'll go up there, and the airport I trained at was 5,016 feet. So just picking it up off the ground, I was already above what they were asking for. So once I was done with all my training, I had already met that criteria so that if later on I wanted to be up in the northern states where the elevation was high, I could do that kind of work. As to where if you train at low altitude or say California, closer to sea level, there's companies up north that are high altitude that they'll look where you're from or whatever and just put your resume right through the shredder. They don't care how many hours you have because you have to have such more mindfulness of your power and everything at high altitude, and a bunch of nerdy stuff. But
no, it makes sense, man. I'm all about that nerdy shit. Come on now, I married a nerd. We're all about it, dude. We're good.
So I moved there, went to school, and then it takes a while to build your hours. So I actually built power lines for a few years while I was kind of getting some hours here and there. And then last summer, I took a little time off. I quit my job building power lines and went all over the Midwest with a spray company, got a little time with them. Then I went to Texas, West Texas, did a little time working with a guy down there. And then just shrimped and got enough hours and barely made the cut. And I saw this posting. A friend had sent it to me for the job I have now. And I applied for it, and he put in a good word for me. And luckily, here I am. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's good. I'm glad you're doing great. Like I personally think that's fucking badass that you're a pilot because I wanted to be a pilot. We had this conversation beforehand. I tried to get into the Air Force after I got my degree to go see if they would take me to be, a pilot for them. They're like, no, kick rocks. Marine Corps, oh, you have tattoos. Get out of here. I'm like, come on. It's like no one's gonna see me. I'm gonna be in the cockpit. We're good. Pre-military questions. Like born and raised, you said Oklahoma. So how was that like? How was it growing around all the ranches and stuff?
Well, I loved it. I mean, I didn't know any different. I thought everybody grew up wearing cowboy boots and a hat. My parents, like, I don't even think I went to the mall and got a pair of Nikes until I was like 8 or 9 years old. Like before then, it was just, my parents bought my clothes at the feed store. They had like Wrangler jeans and cinch and, cowboy clothes. So that's where I got my
I wear Wranglers. I'm not a cowboy. Come on now.
They're just a set of jeans. You know what Wranglers are? I don't mean that crap. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, I loved it. I didn't know really how good I had it at the time, but then those teenage years came on, and I had my family. They trained horses and had horses, and I had bought a horse that wasn't trained, and I trained it and sold it and bought a dirt bike. I had a friend that had some dirt bikes and stuff, and it was my own thing. With the horses and rodeo, I was kind of coached all the time. And I'm a really stubborn person. So, yeah. So it was, I was like being told what to do all the time, but dirt bikes my parents didn't know anything about it. So they couldn't give me any advice. You know what I mean? It was my own thing. So I started riding dirt bikes and enjoyed it and everything. But, after high school, I mean, I wasn't out of high school very long before I went into the Marine Corps. And then after I went in the Marine Corps, all that stuff kind of, stopped. I rodeoed on and off. Like I said, from the time I was really little up to my teenage years, I rodeoed on and off. And then the dirt bikes were on and off kind of thing. And then I played, stick and ball sports, football. I did powerlifting. My team, not me, my team won a state championship in powerlifting. The year we won the state championship, I got third in my weight division at state. I was in the 168-pound weight class. So I did not win a state championship myself. My team did because we had enough guys that placed in the top 5. You get points in each weight division. So our team won the state championship, that was pretty cool. That was 2008, 2009. I don't know. I got the ring somewhere back at home in a box. But
that's cool, man. That's cool. So what was the decision factor, or how did you become a Marine?
So I touched on it a little bit earlier. Really, it was, I had been there in Oklahoma, and I played, had those sports my whole life, and that team, feeling of winning and failing together, and what we went through, and the job that I had, it was just a paycheck. You know what I mean? I wasn't part of a team. Nobody cared about really any, it just, I felt like there was something more for me to do. And the war was going on, and I thought, I am an able-bodied person, and I should, join and help protect my country. And so I did.
What's your family say when you told
them? They're kind of, they keep their emotions to themselves, because like I said, I'm very hard-headed. So them voicing their opinions never had gotten them very far in the past. So it was honestly like who of them to just go with it, because I mean, there was really no way to talk me out of it, kind of thing. And they knew that. I was 18 years old, 19, and they just, my dad just, he sat me down and he was like, this isn't like going, getting in a fight or whatever and getting sent to the principal's office or getting arrested by the sheriff. I can't come get you. Once you sign that piece of paper, the government, owns you. Like I can't do anything about it, and I just want you to make sure this is what you want to do. And he, they hadn't had a lot of conversations with me, I guess, like that. So I really sat down and thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm an able-bodied person. I feel like I should do it, and didn't really have anything to go off of. I mean, my grandfather was in the Air Force, but he had left the family before I was even born. I met him once when I was like 12. Okay. I went down to his house in Georgia, so I really didn't know him. And then my uncle was in Vietnam. He was a door gunner on the helicopters, and he drank himself to death when I was very young because of the war. And then my step grandfather on my dad's side, he was in Vietnam, and I believe he was in the Air Force.
Okay. But
he never talked about it. So I had nothing to go off of besides the commercials. I was like, man, I want to, be that guy with the dressed blues. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Slay that dragon.
Yeah, slay the lava monster. You know what I mean?
Hey, man.
Ran across a couple of Afghanis, a couple of Taliban, but no lava monsters. So.
No lava monsters. No, not even a mailman, huh?
Not even.
Yeah, we just spoke about that one. They're like, "Oh, is that 240 you guys went to go look for?" We're like, "Oh, so that's why we went."
Hey, I was actually thinking about that the other day, and I remember going down in that tunnel. Do you remember that tunnel? Yeah,
all the time.
I had no gear on or anything. I was like, "This is sketchy."
You guys just had a helmet and a 9mm on your rifle.
Yeah, dude. They're like, go. I was like, man, I so feel like Forrest Gump right now.
I sent you, Hanson, I think it was Garza, and I forgot the fourth person. But then they're like, they need a team leader down there. I'm like, it's all right. Hanson's down there.
Yeah. Dude, so many times that guy was beside me. He's like, this is horseshit. All the time, bro. All the time. But he would do it, Oh, man. Another great memory that I thought of I couldn't remember if it was Hanson or you. I think that it's Hanson. But it goes into Thanksgiving Day, and we were outside the wire. We'd run all the way down, like really far down the 611, and we got pinned in that building.
Yes.
And we were having blue on blue, but we didn't know it at the time. And all I remember was laying on the roof with Hanson, and it was one of the roofs that weren't flat. It had the bumps.
Yeah.
And I was laying in between the bumps, and I've got the 240, and I'm looking out of a murder hole, at that big open space between the 611 and the green zone, and we were like covering somebody's egress. And all of a sudden, man, like Hanson's moving around and everything, and all of a sudden, like Payne, I think, is down low, off the roof, and he's like, they've got movement, and we're like, where? Me and him, and they're like, they're on a rooftop, like 400 meters, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, that's where we're at. And all of a sudden, they opened up on us with 240s, bro, and I'm like, oh my god, and I like rolled over, and Hanson, he ducked down like off the roof. But I remember laying on that roof, man, and the hump, like they're hitting one of the humps, and the dirt is falling in my face. Like I can see the rounds going right over my face, and I couldn't get skinny enough, man. I was laying there. I was like, oh my god. And I was like, okay, don't panic, Cheek. They're going to tell them it's us. And then the helicopters started circling, and I was like, great, they're going to do a gun run on us or whatever. I was like, This is the end, bro. But
Yeah.
Hanson was up there. He's like, God damn it. Like, he was mad.
Yeah.
And,
He was,
yeah,
it was
very,
I on the far right, you were in the middle, and he was on the left. And we were in
yeah.
between those things. Yeah. And I remember because before he went to that side, the reason why he was moving, he was in the same spot as I was. And he saved me because as soon as they started shooting at us, my foot was right in that hole that I didn't see, that mortar hole underneath. And he's like, George, he grabs me and yanks me. And as soon as he yanks me, they start peppering that spot. And I'm like, oh shit. And then they started peppering you, and then you ducked down. And then he's like, fuck. And he starts jumping over the things, and they start peppering him. And we all just lay there. We're like, this is the end. I remember him going, this is it. This is the end.
He was like, this is it. They're going to call more. Because I could hear the radio, and they're like, we got to pause. It's, they're sending out an ADRAC, and they're calling on the radios. And I was like, I see the helicopters. I know the mortars are already set up for this AO. Like, I was like, oh my God. And there's nowhere I can go. Like, I'm right on the roof. It's not like I can even go inside, or none of us, Like,
do you remember this part? Hey, Cheek, can you actually grab my fucking pop flare so I can flare that we're here? You reached over to get my flare, popped it, they stopped firing, but Taliban saw us and started firing at us.
It was like a lose-lose situation that day, man. I forgot all about that, but it was in the Molly on your plate carrier.
Yeah. I couldn't reach it. I was like, what the fuck?
I was like, oh, this is sketchy because I had to jump. I don't remember if I just reached over. I was like, failed, dude. I just know it, but thank God.
You started yelling at me. You're like, get fucking closer.
Yeah. I was like, cause you crawl. Like, like I said, I've been thinking about it the last couple of days, and there's so many times that I look back, and all of us that made it through that alive, that not more of us got shot, whether it be in the arm, wherever we got hit. But I mean, just so many times it was so close. And
dude, he actually pulled a bullet out of his chest rig when we were coming back from what was that, Kyrgyzstan? That little X-ray area where they check our gear. They're like, hey, why are you holding onto a bullet? And they're like, what? He actually had a bullet stuck in his flak, and he thinks it's from that day.
There was one of the guys from, I think it was 3rd Platoon or 1st, the shorter kid. He was a really nice guy. I can't remember. I can't believe I can't remember his name.
The one that got shot in the dick?
No, I know that.
No. He didn't get shot in the dick. It like skimmed his nut pro and it like shot off.
Yeah, there was that one, but there was the one that got shot in the mag. Like, he got shot in his plate area. Like,
Murphy?
Who? Murphy, yeah, Murph. Yeah, he had a picture. He has. I mean, I knew that he got shot. There's quite a few of us that got shot in the like flak and like all kinds of shit, dude. Yeah. Like that's all I'd say about that for now. I guess if you want to ask questions, as it were.
Damn, dude. So now that we're on that topic, obviously I wanted to ask you about Afghanistan and your experience and stuff like that, because we got to actually patrol a little bit after a date in October. You moved over to our squad, and obviously, you had some incidents that happened, and you came back to us, and you started rocking and rolling. And it sucks that when you came back, you ended up getting an upgrade on your gun. You went from the SAW to the fucking 240.
Yeah.
You got an upgrade on your gun, and then you went from Aaron Ayala, which wasn't really an asshole, to me, which is a big asshole. So you got everything upgraded, bro.
Yeah. I'll get to that.
What's up?
I said I'll get to that. Yeah.
Do it, man. We're already on the topic. Just shoot it.
We got to Afghanistan. We got there to Leatherneck, and I mean, I had never. You guys had been to Iraq, and everybody, we had the shaved heads. Where but when we went into Sangin, it was just an eye opener thing. I remember Alec was in front of me on the helicopter going in, and the helicopters that had taken in the sticks before us were coming back, and they'd been taking fire and stuff that morning, you know, and it was like all this emotion and all this workup that you had been doing come down this culminating moment. I would guess it would be like somebody that maybe trained for the Olympics for like 4 years or 8 years, and then now they're finally going to get their chance to go and do what they're trained to do, you know. And yeah, we went into Sangin, and we weren't there very long, and then you know, we lost you know, Alec, we lost Lopez, and we, you know, lost 2 or 3 guys to just to WI. You know, they weren't killed, but they were wounded, you know, and that's what you're talking about. I moved over to your squad, you know. So it went from very surreal to very real very quickly for me. There wasn't a big like break-in period. We went to Sangin. We went down. We got trucked from Inkerman to Fires, and we did that first big op. And Archibald was in front of me, and I was at 240, and I was in the back. I was actually running rear. I don't know if there was anybody behind me, but Archibald was right in front of me. So anyways, we're like, somebody's trying to egress back to Transformers the way I remember it. And we come up on these compounds and we start taking fire. Well, I could hear the gun, like the actual gunshots, you know, in the distance. Okay. And then they opened up a lot closer. And the corn was still up at that time. And you know, when you're a little kid, you have those little pop rock things. They're white, rolled up with the little tail on them, and you throw them and hit the ground and pop, you know. And I remember, you know, we all just took a knee when the gunfire had started, but then it started hitting the corn and it started making that snapping noise. And I just remember they're shooting at me. You know, I knew that they had shot at us when we landed on the helicopters and stuff, you know, but I couldn't hear it because the helicopters were so loud and the door gunners were blazing, you know what I mean? So I'd never heard it, you know, and Archie was like, get down, they're shooting. Like, I was like, what the hell's that, you know? And he's like, they're fucking shooting at you, you know? And so we got down and we maneuvered and ended up going in these buildings and everything. And Alec got to, like, he was right up there up front, you know what I mean? And he went into this building and he's like, Cheek, I shot into he's like, I don't know if I hit anybody, but he's like, the corn was moving and everything, and I shot into it and then it wasn't moving, and he was like super stoked. Nobody got hurt on that op. We got to throw grenades, we got to shoot our weapons, like we were feeling like we had beat the world, you know what I mean? Like,
actually, Long got hit that day.
I thought that was after that initial that I was in.
No, that happened later in the evening. That was literally the last event of the night.
Okay, because I remember, but what I'm trying to get at is, like I said, my memory is fuzzy, and
you've been blown up a few times. I seen it.
So, but I just remember when we first got back to the FOB, everybody made it, and we had closed with and destroyed the enemy. You know what I mean? Like, we were Marines, you know, and nobody got hurt. And that's what you don't really think of when you go to Afghanistan. And that will be my first topic of what bothers me the most. What really hurt me and sticks with me the most is that all through our workup and all through going up to Sangin was that Alec was always like, hey man, if I have to do my job, so be it. But if not, I don't care. You know, but me, I was like, no, I want to get some. Like, I want to be in combat. I want to fight, you know, which a lot of us did, you know. because we're infantry Marines. So what they had bred us to do, kind of thing. And when he, the next part, we did that, and we did that together, and we made it. And you just, at a young age, you don't think about what can happen to you or your brothers. And the fact that my brothers, we went from a 9-man squad, and when we got there, and then 2 weeks later, there's only 3 of us left that are combat effective. And whether people were killed or injured or sent back to Leatherneck or what. You don't think about that. You don't think, oh, me praying for war is going to hurt people that I love and not me. And that has always been something. When I say my prayers at night, like I thank God that I'm alive, but it's hard for me to live with that, to live with the fact that they didn't necessarily, him, Braggs, Lopez had a little more of the same mentality as me or anybody, wanting to get some and stuff. But I remember just those guys were really, they were neutral. They weren't cowards by any means. Like they did exactly what they were supposed to do in any situation that I ever saw. But I'm just saying they didn't want it. And that really weighs heavy on me. And was really a big part of hardship for me to get over that, later on. So I came to your squad and everything, and after I lost Alec, I mean, obviously Lopez too, and the Docs and Johnson was gone. Like, I'd lost all my people to lean on, but Alec really was the only person that I confided in that knew anything about me, a lot about me, and knew that I was kind of that way. So I think in a lot of ways, I projected that tough, like, not give a shit attitude going through everything, because really deep inside I was like a sissy when it came. Like, I always had somebody with me, you know what I mean? And now I was alone, as a sense, and I was very angry. I was a very angry person, and I was very, I guess a very, angry individual anyways, a very, physical fighting kind of like, and then that just made it worse, because now I'm like, nobody gives a shit about me, or nobody cares, or whatever, and I'm just going to look out for myself, in the sense of I'm not going to worry about making friends or whatever. I want to keep everybody alive and do my job and kind of thing, but I didn't feel like a brotherhood anymore, I guess you could say. I kind of lost that, and I was very angry and things, and then it moved on from there. But then me and you are, a lot of people, if they really take the time to sit down and talk, you know what I mean? A lot of people that don't get along, if they can reconcile their differences or see their differences for what they are, and respect one another, they're usually probably pretty good friends. But the situation that we were in at the time, a lot of us were in, all of us were on the fight. We were on the muscle. So we didn't have that. We were fucking tired. We were hungry all the time. Like, we were just in a very stressful situation. We were trying to keep our head on our shoulders. So being nice to someone was the last on my fucking list. If I wanted you out of my way, it wasn't, hey, excuse me. It was, move, get out of my way, And, obviously somebody getting pushed, they're going to be mad too, So we were a brotherhood, but there was a lot of emotions that went through those PBs, a lot.
Oh yeah, and then it baffles me though, because how you explain things, and it hits perfect. It hits perfect, and it describes how the actual character of mostly everybody there was. With all of that, they literally decided to put you with the biggest asshole of the company and say, you guys are roommates. I'm like, everything you just said, like, for those of you who are watching, literally everything he said, how get the fuck out of my way, we don't want to deal with people. And those that know me know that I didn't have patience or tolerance for people much. Now imagine him and I living together. Literally, I would look at this kid across from the fucking little spot that we had, which wasn't much. What was it, like a 10 by 10 maybe, max?
Man, it wasn't big enough, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, like we had like maybe like a box in between, and if we both turned, like our knees almost touched to each other, and we just look at each other like, hey, you good? And you just stare at me and get mad that I would fucking be smoking a cigarette in front of you, and you're just like,
yeah. Yeah, dude, there was not a lot of words said, but
one time was like, do you want to go shower together? No homo. And do you want to go eat? I think that was the only conversations we ever had.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I've really been trying because, I've been watching everybody else's podcasts and I've really tried to look back and try to piece together just everything so I could talk to you and the viewers out there could like not get a jumbled up timeline from me or whatnot, trying to make sense of it, like I'm somewhat intelligent. But it really just kind of goes in and out. I personally I view, like you're saying, you're like, I felt like I was the biggest dick. I felt that way too. I didn't think that somebody else was me. And at the time, because I had lost Alec and I didn't give a shit about anybody else's opinion, I didn't give a shit if people liked me or didn't. You know what I mean? I didn't at all. I was like, part of me, it was just, man, if I could try to explain the emotion, it's really, you don't have the emotions, but I look back and try to put my finger on what I was feeling at that time, because really I felt numb.
And I just said it. It's numb.
Numb and hate. That's what I felt, like those memes people see when they see a person in the military and it's like, oh, I have all these feelings, and it's like, not me. I run off caffeine and hate. That was me. That was me at the time, and you and a lot of other people, and so I look back on it and I try to think of how I was, and I've just come to the conclusion that I was very angry and very, very sad that I had lost Alec, and I believe that love. No homo, but I believe that love is the greatest force on earth. And here's why. Because if I didn't love Alex so much, like when he was taken from us and when he was killed, then I wouldn't have felt all of that anger and rage. Okay. Like that is what triggered that to happen. Okay. And that's just my personal belief. You know what I mean? And everything just kind of took second place to that. And I think my anger and rage kind of blinded me to a lot that was going on. And later on, trying to forget it. And the fact that, we're going to talk about stuff later, but I was murdered in the deployment and got my bell rung. And then we were in a 7-ton on the way to Transformers. And got my bell rung, and was literally me and Nanny were sitting right over the axle. I think there was the whole squad in there, man. But I'm just saying on my side, and that's the side we ran over the freaking IED on. And of course they have those bars over the top. So I got my bell rung during that, and then later on we had more explosions that were I was around. So I don't remember half the shit that I even do. How I remember half the shit that I do, but that's why I love talking to you guys, is because just like earlier we were talking about stuff and I was like, damn dude, I didn't even remember that. I forgot that or whatever. So it helps out a lot. But that, to answer your question, is, really like the kind of the backstory and how I felt coming to your squad. It really didn't make a shit to me at that point. And then they were like, we're going to give you a 240 instead of your saw, and you're going to go out anytime they need a machine gunner, because now you're not part of a squad. So I was like, great, man, more hate that I can, because I was like, I don't care what happens to me, like I lost my best friend and I was really like in a deep place. And then later on, that kind of leads me into the second thing, I guess, that I want to talk about for things that I regret about the deployment. But I think that I've answered your question, I guess to the fullest that I can. But I didn't. It was indifferent to me who was in charge of me or what they said or who they were. If they were a dick, I'd dick back to them. But other than that, I just didn't fucking say anything to anybody, hardly.
No, makes sense.
So.
It sounds good, man. Thank you, honestly, for answering and telling me the stuff. I do want to pick your brain more about more of the Sangin deployment scenarios. Obviously, we've been blown up together multiple times. We've gone to firefights multiple together. If you're willing to talk, I'd love to find out more insight of October 14th, kind of like what happened, if you're willing to talk, and then just afterwards, and then continue the conversation. You down with that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully I can make it through without bawling. Not a big crier, but I told Alex's family what had happened from what I saw when I got home, because I believe that his father and his mother deserved that.
They deserved to hear. Yes.
Exactly, from somebody that saw it. And I always hoped that Gomez and everybody that was in that canal could bring themselves to share that with the Catherwoods, because you may have one incident. If you've got 6 different people, you're gonna kind of have 6 different stories of how it happened. And it's not that they're lying, it's just that
they viewed it that way.
People see stuff differently, and that's just how it is.
Yes. We got to have a conversation about military, but I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Sangin. If there's anything you wanted to bring up. Obviously, I asked you earlier if you're willing to talk about October 14th and beyond, and your experience afterwards with Afghan, and how after a certain incident then made your mind change, and then you grew, you developed, and then how life is pretty much now. If you're willing to, man.
Yeah. So, the real deployment, it really started for me on October 14th, and that's we lost Alec, and we lost Lopez, and we had triple amputees, and double there's a lot that went on that day, but from what I remember, we were QRF, and there was another squad, I think, that was in contact, and we had went out early, and we had set up in this building, and we were basically trying to catch the enemy on the egress from contact, because we were going to go set up in this building, and then this other squad was going to kind of, I don't know if it was 3rd platoon or 1st platoon, but a squad from them was going to kind of go a certain way, and they were going to see if they would ingress or egress through where we were set up, basically. And we had left before the sun came up. So we're in this compound, and we've got a couple of the snipers with us, and they're doing their thing, and I was a saw gunner at the time, me and Alec, and so we were on different sides of the building, and I was just in this murder hole, holding security down this road. And like I said, we'd been in a couple of firefights at this point, but the real, I guess, deployment and shitstorm that was about to happen had not erupted yet. So a guy on a motorcycle at that point to me was, hey, this guy's just trying to get, to where he's going. The snipers were talking about it and all this other stuff, and he left, and then he kind of come back. And so anyways, which now, later on in the deployment, they would have just shot him because he would have been an observer. We knew he was an observer, you know what I mean? So, I mean, we would have.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like,
we had that pause, like, yeah, we shoot him.
yeah, because I mean, like later on, it got cleared to where we could engage if somebody had running shoes on. Like that was enough positive ID. You know what I mean? Because of the situation we were in. I'm not trying to say that to raise my tail feathers, as it were, but that was what they told us. Like, if they're between this grid line and this grid line, they're considered hostile. And if they have running shoes on, the regular farmers don't. They wear those little flip flops, or So, but anyway, so we're holding security. We've done everything that we were going to do, and the way it was set up is the fires was not that far away from where we were at. 300-400 meters, maybe something like that. So we leave this compound, and this compound it's 2 open fields divided by a canal, and then on the other side of the far field was a canal, and then another open field, and then our fob. So I mean, it's like 3 cornfields away, pretty much. So I was a saw gunner and Alec was a saw gunner. So obviously we don't move together. So here we go. We get up, we're bounding, right? And like me and a couple of the snipers or whatever, I don't remember exactly how we moved first. So, but we all end up in the canal, right? And we all made it across the first cornfield. Now we're going to make it across this cornfield to the canal that's between us and fires. Okay. So Alec, like the way it was set up is it like this canal was deep and there was kind of like a walkway out of it, like where they had dug to cross with like their wagons and stuff. So I was set up here and he was here, and they're like, okay, we're going to bound like our element. We're half of us or 1 at a time or 2 at a time, however it was. So obviously, since me and Alec had saws, we're going to go opposite of each other. So they're like, okay, Cheek, you stay here. We're going to bound. So they were the first element to go. Alec was, and a couple of other guys. So they get to the other side, okay, and they go to set in, and then they're like, okay, you guys bound across. All right. And before Alec left, when I was there, he slapped me on the head and he said, I'll see you on the other side. And at the time, I had no idea what was about to happen. And he got to the other side. Anyways, he was holding security and I was bounding. And we were running, obviously, because it was across an open field. And about the time I get to this canal, the squad was already in there, most of them. Like I was almost the last element. And I remember Alec was out of the corner of my eye and he moved. He was moving. And the last thing I remember is when he went to put that saw down. And then after that, I was blown like off my feet, and I had went into the canal in the water. Like I fell, like it blew me kind of back. Like I was already going to jump down into the canal, but from what I remember, it kind of like it was close enough. He wasn't very far away from me, and the explosion happened and I went down and then I went under the water. And I remember, you know how you are in water, like it muffles you. And I remember setting up and it was just hell on earth. I mean, honestly, to me, like people were screaming, people were shooting. Like shortly after that, Lopez's IED went off in the compound that was right there next to us. I mean, it was just full-fledged combat up to that point that I'd experienced, And we start like firing and stuff, and I hear Gomez scream this blood-curdling scream, and I knew something was wrong. And I look over, and all I can see is like the the top kind of half of a Kevlar, and then like like camis with air in it. You know what? Like floating, and it was Alec. And Gomez was closer to him than me, and I fucking threw down the saw on the bank because we were in this canal at this time, and I threw it down on the bank, and I got over there, and me and Gomez dragged Alec up, down farther away, and then at some point another IED went off with the other doc, and so now we've got a triple amputees, and they're screaming, and everybody's firing in all different directions. And so I pull Alec, me and Gomez pull Alec up on the bank and like we're out exposed, both of us, and I was just so zoned in to Alec that it really. It's funny, all through training we're taught, fight the enemy first, and then that's the doc's job or whatever. But I just couldn't do anything except focus on Alec, and me and Gomez. Gomez is screaming at him, and I'm screaming at him, and his arm is gone, just not all the way up to the shoulder, but just mid, like above the elbow. So he had this. He has lacerations to his face, deep lacerations to his face, and I just remember him being white, like so white. And I rip his flat, like his saw is like gone, like blue, because it blew up like right in his face. To that point, I had never seen an IED go off and the injuries that it caused. So to me, because he was standing there and then he got down, to me, in my mind, it was an IED. The after action report was they said it was different, but to me, that's what I saw. You know what I mean? But anyways, I get his flak off and felt for a pulse, and there's no pulse. And it was, I take that, it was very, very, very faint. And like I started trying to do CPR. I put my tourniquet on him. I remember Gomez was still helping me at this time. So I don't remember if I actually put the tourniquet on or Gomez did, but Gomez stayed right there with me. We were both trying to work on Alec. And Johnson, I know that at that time Johnson had been shot or hit in the leg. The shrapnel was in his leg, and he's trying to call in the radio, and probably like 10 minutes has passed by now. And I know that some more of the docs showed up after the other doc got hit and was a triple amputee. I also know that some of the snipers showed up later on and were helping. And I think Bonte was actually calling in the 9 line and everything, took the radio from Johnson and stuff and was doing that. And so anyways, we took his flak off. We're trying to revive him, and it was just, there's nothing. His heartbeat just kept fading. And I did mouth to mouth. I knew mouth to mouth. I know that only thing they teach us in the Marine Corps is the compressions, but I knew mouth to mouth, and I was going to try anything that I could. And I remember the only thing else I remember besides Alec's face is looking over, and I remember Ayala screaming at me. Screaming at me, asking, how Alec, what state he was in, and I couldn't make myself say it. I couldn't make myself say it. And the firefight went on. Everybody, we collected up all these casualties and everything, and I stayed right there with Alec. There until we loaded him up in the helicopter. I don't think I fired a single shot, but there was all, it was going down all around us and stuff. And I really, some of the stuff I did or whatnot was kind of fuzzy. I remember Ruiz, one of the snipers at the time, helped me carry Alec. I was just so numb, like shaken, that I couldn't even carry Alec by myself. And so he helped me. And I remember, I remember the helicopter landed, and I handed him to those, the medics and stuff, and we helped get Lopez on the helicopter and all the other casualties. And that was the last time I saw him. That was it. My best friend, my partner in crime, as it were. And it's really hard to go from seeing somebody laughing and joking 10 minutes earlier to what happened that day. And I hope there's more people on here that were on that patrol that are able to fill in the pieces, because there was a whole nother half of that I couldn't even see. They were in that compound and around the edge, and I never even went in there. And that's where Doc was. That's where Lopez was at. There's a whole nother side of that I didn't even get to be a part of. But I just know that after that day, it really opened my eyes, and I had a lot of hate for the enemy, and it is one of the things that kind of losing Alec, and then the fact that it really made me hate the people, I guess you could say. Not all of them. Like, there were still nice people there and everything like that, but just the enemy. It wasn't like I was over there to do a job and I didn't really have any emotion about it. Does that make sense? Like, before, I was like, okay, I'm a Marine and this is my job and I'm going to do my job. But now I hated the Taliban. Like, now they killed my friend, and I'm going to get as many people as I can, and I don't care if it costs me my life. Like, that was my mentality, I guess you could say. And, we came back to we made it back to the ones that were, left and everything, made it back to the fob. And I remember Ayala looking at him and him trying not to cry, and I don't know if I was crying or not. I probably was. I remember that. Like, I remember coming right into the fob, and then it was kind of black for me for a while. And I remember sitting around at fires in that little common area and having to look at the cigarette that I was smoking to put it in my mouth, because I was shaking so bad. I didn't have enough hand-eye coordination to, when you're smoking a cigarette, you can be looking over here, whatever, hand-eye coordination. And I was so, like, I had to look at it and smoke that cigarette. I'll never forget one of the other guys that we were with, Garza, later on, he talked to me and he was like, dude, I looked at you and I just thought you were conditioned black, which, the viewers might not understand what that means. But basically, you're so shell-shocked, as it were, the old World War II term, right? World War I, the shell-shocked that you couldn't function. You know what I mean? I'd done everything I had to do out there, but once I made it back, I just kind of, broke down. But, luckily I stayed in one piece, and after that just kind of closed off. I just had a blank. I've talked to some of the other guys that were there, and from then on, I was just kind of blank the whole time. And, it was like, fuck, man, we're 2 weeks in. I still have to make it all the way for the rest of the deployment. And then, I got moved to a different squad and stuff. And then a few weeks later, Braggs was killed. And I remember the night before we went on that patrol, Bragg's, I believe you were there. We're sitting around that fire, and Bragg's was switching his plate carrier over to that heavy ass MTV or MAV or whatever the acronym is, but he was switching it over, and we were giving him shit. And I remember, like, I was literally the next guy in line in that patrol, and he was shot, and I was right there next to him, and hearing that and hearing him, and being like, I was wide open in the wide open field, and we're taking contact and there's nowhere to go, get up and, so that is another thing that always, like, for me is hard to deal with is, always being one step in front of or behind. Because, like, Alec, I mean, he was right in front of me. Braggs was right in front of me. Like, when is it going to be my turn? And there were other patrols and stuff where people had stepped on IEDs or whatever that were right next to me or whatever. And then we got, that kind of thing. So we're, as far as the timeline goes of the deployment, now we're kind of like into December, I guess you could say. And I'm still like kind of black about the whole deal. There's, firefights almost, that earlier part, like we were in firefights almost all the time. It kind of just meshes together for me besides those big, huge events.
Correct.
And then the next thing is then because I guess my higher ups or whatever had thought that I had executed my job satisfactorily. I guess I had been put up for Marine of the Quarter, and I won Marine of the Quarter, and I won all this stuff, and then they promoted me. Well, I was like, okay, so I'm a corporal, but I'm still carrying the 240 and stuff, and that was that kind of made it worse for me because then I was around peers or I was around other Marines that didn't necessarily believe that I should have been in that spot. And then I had peers that I had been in the Marine Corps with that were in my squad, in my platoon, that didn't necessarily believe, they thought somebody else maybe should have had that promotion or whatever the case may be. So then it was kind of like alone, like I was really alone kind of thing. And that was hard on me because I lost Alec, I lost him, and now I'm halfway around the world from everybody that loves me, because Alec's gone, and everybody else is, trying to keep their head on their shoulders, so the only thing I knew how to do was just, be quiet, I guess you could say, not really, I guess, voice my opinion or how I felt, but we still, I was more nervous then than I was before because I'm like, great, now I'm promoted and all this other stuff. Now I'm really going to get shot, but or step on an IED or something, but, it seemed to work out. We made it in, one piece, and then, the rest of the deployment for me was, there was funny parts. Earlier we had talked about going to Melbourne. Yes. And I ended up in a hole, like straight up, like, like old school, man. Only thing I had on was a Kevlar, like no flak, a pistol. We were like going in, and, there were some funny things that happened. Lighting up a brand new like car that this Afghani had bought with the 240 because he wouldn't stop, and then the whole patrol's like, really? And then we had to sit there for like 2 hours because they had to go talk to him and all this other stuff. But, wow. Other than that, like, we were just going after it, kind of like Nancy Pelosi went after Trump's speech. You know what I mean? We were tearing it up. And we did our job, and the we made it, and
Nice.
then I guess really, I mean, there's a couple of fire, like the Battle of Thanksgiving was very, very eventful. Being on that rooftop up there, I remember. I don't even know if it was one of those because there were a lot of firefights on the top of transformers.
Yeah.
But I was sitting on post on transformers one time, and I think Kraft was up there with me. I can't remember for sure, but I hope through these
He's actually getting recorded next.
Yeah, through these videos, I hope that we can figure out who was on the roof with me. But I had finally gotten a Red Bull from home in my care package, and it was sitting on the sandbags, and we took fire. And I don't know if I swung around and hit it with the 240 or if it actually got hit, but my Red Bull got spilled, and I remember laying some hate into the green zone because my Red Bull was spilled. Like, I'm not kidding, dude. I went through probably 200 rounds just spraying and praying off of the roof because they had knocked over my Red Bull. I was pissed. And it's things like that some people will never understand, like having a Mountain Dew. For my 21st birthday, I got a Pepsi that had been rolling around in the back of an MRAP for so long, you couldn't even see hardly that it was a Pepsi. Remember that? Melendez gave it to me, and like I took like a couple of drinks, and we hadn't had any sugar. It was like syrup to me. And so I took a couple of drinks and like passed it around, you know what I mean? But it was hot. It tasted like shit. Some of our higher ups maybe called in some mortars that were too close to us.
I remember that day.
And you reminded me, I didn't even know it, but I thought we were in the canal and we were in a firefight, and we called for mortars for support, and somehow the paws of the enemy and our paws got switched by somebody that I won't mention, and we got mortared. And I thought they all landed outside of the canal, but you had said earlier that you found between me and Gomez there was one in the canal, but thank God the mud, it didn't go off. Because that would have been it were those 60s or 80s
those are the 80s.
Yeah.
The 81s or whatever.
What's that?
The 81 section?
Yeah, because I know there's 60s, 80s, and the 120, but I just couldn't remember. Like I said, my memory is bad.
The medium ones.
And then I was writing on notebooks and notepads for a couple of weeks because that was a whole awesome event.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Having you scream "what" every 2 seconds was pretty funny.
Yeah,
we're like, no one's talking to you, dude. Shut up.
Yeah.
What?
I was super annoying, probably.
You would remind everybody, I can't hear. We know.
Yeah. Another thing. I don't know if you've had this person on yet, but Nanny. I remember a funny thing that happened with me and Nanny. So we were down above the A&A post at Fires, and you know how they had their own hooch down there at Fires, right by the gate. Me and Nanny were on post in the middle of the night when it was their New Year's. Remember this?
No.
So it was their New Year's, and they walk outside of the hooch, and me and Nanny are on the roof. Nobody says shit, right? We have no idea.
Fires or is this Transformers?
Or Transformers. I'm sorry, Transformers.
Okay.
Now they have the A&A post down by the gate.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, we're standing there we're on post and all of a sudden the A&A starts blasting off burst right from underneath us out of the fog. Me and Nanny hit the deck, and Nanny crawls over to the edge, and he pulls out a frag, and he's legit fixing to frag the A&A because we thought somebody made it in the gate or was right outside the gate, that they somehow low crawled where we couldn't see, you know. And luckily, whoever was on the COG or whatever was like hauling ass down there or whatever, and was like, it's the A&A, you know. And on the radio, they're like, it's the A&A. So thank God Nanny didn't throw it. Then, if that wasn't bad enough, because of all those trip flares that we set up, the goat, that stupid goat, got into the trip flares when all this is going on, right? And now there's trip flares going up, and I was like, man, snakes in the grass, Charlie's in the wire, bro. They're in the fog. You know? I was like, they're in here. We're doomed, you know?
We're going to find you with a fucking knife in your mouth, no crawl.
Like, then we're shooting in the compound, and then we finally get like some lights on it and everything, and it's this goat, dude, and we straight up like filled that goat full of lead, bro.
Did anyone hit the goat?
Huh? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. From my recollection, we shot the goat.
Okay, so it was probably paint. It was probably paint that was a COG.
Was it?
I think so, because I was asleep for both of those. I don't remember those.
No, I could have sworn we shot, because I remember we shot like when the flares went off, because in that compound over in that corner there was like that little ditch, and that's where we put those trip flares, and they went off, and we're like, you know. And so I don't know, it was hilarious. I think the people on the roof of Transformers and us down at that post both shot the goat. So we couldn't see, it was dark, you know. We were just following our tracers, but we were shooting right where that trip flare, you know, had went off. And yeah, dude, the goat. I remember the goat. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, all the other firefights were probably pretty cataloged or will be over this, you know, endeavor with what you're doing with Sangin. But you know, after that, you know, the beginning part of the year was kind of slower, you know, up until we left, and then it got to that point to where, oh my God, I've made it this far, you know, what, you know, and the patrols suck. They seemed a lot longer, you know, or when you got shot at, they seemed to, you know, a little different. Yeah. But it was just, everything slowed down, it seemed like. And we made it, you know, and it was funny times, there's good times and bad times, and you know, you look back on it now and cussing at each other and throwing stuff and all that, you don't realize how much it's going to affect you later in life. But you know, then we went into, you know, trying to come home. We got into that mindset, you know, we're all dreaming of alcohol and girls, you know, and coming home, you being there on the parade deck was really surreal to me. I remember telling Sergeant Payne, you know, like, I don't want to see my wife. She's my ex-wife now, but I was like, I don't even want to, I've waited all this time, and now I don't even want to see them because I'm afraid of how they will see me, how, like, I will react, you know. Will I still feel numb? Like, I know I loved my wife before I left, but now, like, I don't feel anything, you know. How will all this work, you know? And seeing like Romo and all these guys that were hurt in the war, and then seeing them again, because you know, you put them on a medevac, and that's the last time you see them. That's it. Yeah. You know, you hear how they're doing back in the States, but you don't get to hug them or whatever until that day. And I remember that was a great moment. And then we got released, and you know, it was all kind of a blur to me. My ex-wife was there, and we went. I remember stopping at not Whataburger, but Carl's Jr. And I ordered every burger on the menu. Yeah, because it was right out the gate. You know what I mean? So I had a case of beer under one arm after we got cut to Libo, and then I ran and jumped in my huge lifted. I had a lifted truck at the time, 4x4 truck. And I jumped in that bad boy, and we were gone. We went and stopped at that Carl's Jr. I think I got maybe one and a half of those burgers down before I had to go sit on the toilet because I hadn't had any kind of fast food for months, So, but at first you're glad to be home. It doesn't really sink in, you drink and party and for a little while, but I really kind of took a dark road after that. I was lost and I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. I had, I drank every day. Because the way I saw it is that if I could still go and run 10 miles, and do my PT in the morning, that I could drink if I wanted to. I could do what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to, I'm okay. That's normal, right? Like I can do that. So, I was drinking a lot, and I'd have like a Gatorade bottle, and I would just drink half of it and put vodka in there, or Jack Daniels or whatever. Like I would drink stuff that wasn't even good, just alcohol.
Yeah.
But I was still doing my job and everything. And then later on down the road, I won't, if he wants to divulge the information later on, but I had a higher up in the chain of command at the time that found out that I was pretty much drunk all the time. And he was like, okay, you got two choices. We can NJP you right now and it'll follow you around forever for the rest of your life, or you can go to this alcohol program and this alcohol PTSD program. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Shocker there. What am I going to choose? So I did the program and everything and graduated and managed to make it through that. But there was all kinds of things, just my moral character that I lost in that war or in that time that I was there. Because like I'd said earlier, in the firefights, when I first got there, I was doing it because that was my job. And then I started to like it. And I feel guilty about that between me and the man upstairs, says it right there in the 10 Commandments, it wasn't that I did my job. It was that I liked it, if that makes sense. That bothers me. And then also the fact that I wanted more and that my best friend didn't, and he died and I did it. He paid the ultimate price for what I wanted. And I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of counselors, and I'm never going to feel any differently about that. They call it survivor's guilt. Guilt, remorse. But you're never going to talk me out of wishing that I had died on that creek bank instead of him. They'll never do it. Never. I try to be a good father and a good husband to my wife now and my son. But my ex-wife, I haven't talked to her since I was about 22, 23 years old when we got divorced, and really put a lot that was unfair and unnecessary. And again, moral character wise was not me. And I hate myself for that. And maybe one day, I can talk to her and tell her and apologize, but I've talked to my wife that I have now about it and said, it wasn't me. And so, that stuff kind of is what bothered me. But everything else we went through really just kind of, I think of as building my life into what it is now. And I'm sure you feel this, a lot of the same ways. It's lessons learned, I just we'll always wish it was a different way, I think. But now I've moved on, and the past is the past. You can't change it, and I'm looking forward. And I love what I do for a living, and one day, part of me being a helicopter pilot was Alec. He loved helicopters. He would giggle like a little girl when we rode in them. And I know that if he could see me today, or that he does see me today, and he probably thinks that it tickles him to death that Cheek flies helicopters. This redneck that finally figured out a way to fly helicopters. But I take pride in that, knowing that I've tried to live up to what Alec would have been. I try to think every day of try to be a good man for Alec, because I know he was a good man, and Braggs was a good man, and Lopez, and it doesn't sacrifice, I don't think, to be a negative influence on society. I would like to be a positive influence on society and share their story, so that people will know that to this day there's still men and women that lay down their lives to protect our way of life, and are warriors, and they'll be that way. And so I think I've rebuilt my life pretty well. I don't have all the answers. None of us do.
Yeah.
I still got, I still have hard times, and just like everybody else, and still wish life was different. As in the sense of, it's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I wish I had never known that pain, but at the same time, I know that it's made me the man that I am today. And at 30 years old, which I am now,
you're 30 now?
I'm 30, bro. I turned 30 in November. Easy on that shit, though. Easy.
Dude, we gotta remember, 9 years ago you were 19, man.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. Let's back that up. What year did I meet you? I met you 2009?
Me in 2000. No, I joined the Marine Corps 2009, so I would have done. I came to 3-5 in like November or December of 09.
December of 09. Damn.
Yeah, November, December time frame is when. I honestly think it was November, because it was November because I went to Oklahoma to move my ex-wife back to California, because I had graduated SOI and I could have my family with me. So
Your birthday's on the 9th.
Huh?
Your birthday's on the 9th.
True statement.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm good, man. Good for you, man. Good for you for remembering that. I can't even hardly remember. Can't even hardly remember my own birthday.
There's 3 birthdays I really remember. Don't kill me, Aaron. And it's not his. The only reason why I remember it's his birthday is because my wife tells me, hey, it's your sister's birthday and your best friend's. I went, oh, okay. So I'll call them both. But I remember Holes, Calhoun, because we share the same birthday, and yours, because you were the closest one.
Yeah. What's funny is that my father and Alec's birthday are the same exact day.
Yeah. For the longest time, I thought my dad died on the Marine Corps birthday, November 10th.
Mm.
He actually died on the 11th. Yeah. I was like, oh, no. All right, whatever.
Man, I'm sorry. I know that. I mean, that's.
It don't affect me, bro. It doesn't get to me. We're good. Like most people, I didn't grow up with my father, so he was. I think I saw him maybe like 2-3 times, and I was really, really young. So it never affected me. Just kind of like whatever, screw it. Just learn to grow without it. It is what it is. Move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
That's pretty much it. And I'm thankful for you putting this platform on, and I know that we've been on here for a while. So for all the people that hung through the whole thing, kudos to you. I wish I had a prize I could give you for listening to me run my suck that long, but no, all I have is some bad kind of good knowledge for you, and that's it.
Go for it, man. What you got?
No, I'm saying everything that I've said so far. That's
okay. No, man. You actually you hit a lot of fucking things I wanted to talk about. Like, you obviously knew what my approach was with all of this. You hit it right. You talked about scenarios. You talked about life afterwards, coming back and everything. And reality, it's not a fucking secret. Those that don't know you, we know that October 14 losing your best friend hurt you. It fucked you up. Like, plain and simple. You know me. I'm very fucking straightforward. It fucked you up. Like, when I was telling you when the camera was off, I remember fucking seeing you and going, damn, he's lost. He's gone. He's numb. Everyone asks me, how did you make war so easy? You go numb. When you go numb, everything is easy. Everything is fucking simple. And a lot of people don't understand that. You do. A lot of us know that feeling. Once you go numb, it's easy. But it sucks when that easy becomes something addicting. That addicting feeling screwed us over afterwards. Like you explained, bro. Like I was telling you earlier, you're not alone, and it sucks because I used to think I was alone. It wasn't until I started talking to you guys that I go, holy shit. Like, I'm not alone. I have to stop being stupid. I have to do what Kurt told us. Hey, my generation doesn't talk to each other. And that's what fucked us up. You guys are still young. Do something about it. I wanted to do something about it. And now we're here. But honestly, man, this isn't going to be the last time I fucking talk to you. Thank you for fucking sharing with me. It was fucking awesome to fucking serve with you. It was awesome that you to fucking be my roommate. Thank you for fucking putting up with my fucking ass. Because I know I'm not the fucking easiest of people to fucking live with. And coming from someone that's lived with me, you've lived with me in combat as my biggest asshole fucking moment. And then Aaron has lived with me. And both people have said he wasn't that bad. He just sticks to himself.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, man, what's up?
I say it was good. It was good times.
Yeah. In all honestly, thank you for sharing. Thank you for fucking staying positive. It's great seeing you that you're fucking doing something very, very positive. Something that I wanted to do. I wanted to fly. You're getting to do it. Who knows? I'll probably put in myself for a freaking little training course and probably get myself like a small pilot fucking license or some shit. There's like little airports around here. But I'm just talking out of my ass. I've been saying I'm going to go do scuba diving for the longest time. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, you gotta. The biggest thing I can tell people is put a date to something. If you say I'm going to do it one day, then you'll never do it. But if you say, October the 18th, I'm going to go scuba diving, like then it's a real thing. I think that's how I do it.
No, you're right.
To actually do stuff.
You're right. That's how I used to do things. And then that whole thing of getting lost, shit, I got lost. I got lost for the longest time. It was years. I completely got lost. I would try to force it. And like I've told people before, there was a time where I thought I had everything in life. Everything you were supposed to get, but I wasn't happy. And then that's the moment when you realize, like, fuck, what haven't I found that most people have found? Why haven't I achieved that? And in reality, like material shit, now I understand it. Material shit comes and goes. I've had it. I still have it. But in reality, what makes us happy? What makes us happy is finding that fucking peace. And for us is being able to live our life being happy and saying, you know what? Yeah, that was in the past. It's going to haunt me. It's going to be there. But how do I keep living forward and moving forward without this being a factor and obstacle in my life?
Yeah, for sure. And my wife that I have now in my life, she knows me post-military, and I don't talk about it, much or anything with her, but she's really been a big help in my life, and because she had went through trauma and stuff in her life, and it helped me. And then having a son, having a kid, I think being a dad is the best calling in the world, and to try to be a good dad, hands down, I do not have it figured out. You know what I mean? But being a dad and raising a child and raising a young man, and seeing him make decisions, just on the playground, like kid falls down and he helps him up, instead of just walking by him, that makes me feel good. And that gives me a glimpse of Alec, and my son's middle name is Alec. So, he's a big part of my life still today. And I just wanted to, definitely say, thank you, to my wife that I have now, and my child, for sticking through me, through the bad times in my life. Some of the stuff comes out of my mouth sometimes isn't very nice, but she sticks with me, and she sticks through the night terrors and me beating up pillows in the middle of the night and things like that. So kudos to her.
Yeah, man. Keeper. I feel you. I have one of those too that I post military as well. I don't know how I got her. I'm lucky I have her, and she's awesome. Like, she puts over my shit. There's times where I tell her, I'm like, you know what? If you're not happy, there's a door. You can leave. Like, nothing against me. I mean, nothing against you. Sorry. It's just, you know what? If you're not happy, you can go. Just leave my miserable ass here. I'll fucking cry it out. I'll drink it to death. Just go. Like, just go. You don't deserve that shit. You're supposed to be happy. Go.
Yeah,
I get it, man. I really do. I'm glad you are where you are in life, and I know you're gonna still grow and you're still gonna move forward. But what's next? What's good? What's next for Colt?
Really, like, the company that I'm working for now and stuff, it could grow into a lifetime place here, or not. So they pay me a certain amount and everything, and I have a certain amount of hours. But once I have more hours, obviously it's kind of like the Marine Corps. More, you need to be in charge of people, and you need to move up the ladder. Move up in rank. So, if this company grows and I can grow with it, then I'll stay. If not, then I'll probably move on and do medevac, fly medevac helicopters. When I started the whole helicopter career, that's kind of where I wanted to end up. I've talked to a lot of pilots in between here and there, and they say it's not like all it's cracked up to be sometimes. So it's kind of made me wonder if I want to keep going down that road. But helping people is a big, that's my way of contributing back, because I know what it's like to be on the ground and hear that helicopter coming, and it's a big fucking sigh of relief, and thought maybe one day I could be that for someone, flying that helicopter and them laying there on a gurney or whatever, and they hear those blades, and they think, okay, I'm going to make it now, But it's kind of, I'm just kind of letting it ride, I'm really happy with the company that I work for right now. I get a lot of naps. Like, I can't really talk about what I do, and I just love flying in general. So that makes it a lot better, man. It really does. And I'll just kind of, as they say, let it ride.
Nice. I like that. Are you gonna try to make it out to the anniversary?
Yeah, so I'm going to try to make it to the anniversary. Obviously, I do a week on and a week off, so it's either I can go or I can't. I'm going to try to switch with the other pilot if I can't, to try to make it out there for sure. I'd like to see everybody.
Sounds good, man. So I'm going to try to make it out as well, too. I'm going to try to see the most of you guys that I can, so I hope I get to catch up with you in person. Or if not, I can make a trip out to Colorado. I've been actually talking about making a trip out there. It's just making the time. It's mostly just mine because I work on the weekend. So it's just making the time and then just getting out there. But yeah, man, it was great to have you. I'll go during the week
because I get a week on and a week off. So we can go and explore Colorado during the week when everybody's at work.
That works. Let's do it.
Hold on, man.
All right, brother, man. Got anything else?
I don't. I just, thank you very much for having this platform, and I hope that other vets or just anybody that maybe even down on their luck or went through something hard can watch it and kind of apply it to their life without having to go see a head shrink or something. You know what I mean? Because nobody likes those people. No offense to all you head shrinks that are watching this, telling me I'm crazy, but it's one of those things, man. And I'm so glad that you're doing well. And what a lot of people don't understand is when Marines or any military come back from a deployment, and you kind of lose track on people. You might see them on Facebook or whatnot, but actually talking to them and talking about this is really taboo. Like, just to sit in a room with another Marine that went on that deployment and you could talk about weather or anything, but inside you feel better just sitting by them because you're like, oh, thank God, somebody that understands just the way I view the world and I'm not some crazy lunatic, you know what I mean? Like they understand, where I'm coming from, and that's a really good thing, and I hope it just helps. I really do. And I hope it helps me and you. I know that I feel better, in getting to talk to you today. So who knows, hopefully it helps.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm glad it helped, honestly. I can tell you, thank you for everything. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for telling me your experiences. Obviously, we had to cut this into 2 different segments because we had a lot to share about. We were going to go into 3 or 4, but we managed to make it work in 2. But it's all good, man.
Awesome.
In reality, it's great that you're doing awesome in life and you're seeking something better, and you're moving on. Obviously, I can see the difference from, without offending you, the young, dumb, little, arrogant boy that you were to this man that you're becoming. Because I'm telling you, I seen it where I was like, this guy's a fucking asshole. I don't like him. Why do you guys have him with me? They're like, because you're the biggest asshole we know. That's why. I'm like, oh shit. So here we go. So they put the 2 dicks together and we ended up becoming different fucking people. But honestly, man, again, thank you for sharing. Thank you for fucking everything. It was great talking to you. Great seeing you. I hope to have you again on this fucking podcast. Hopefully talk about something else. Maybe some like PBR bull riding or some shit. I've been wanting to go check out PBR. To be honest, they're always here in the Honda Center every fucking year, so I've been wanting to check them out. Let's do it. So you got nothing else, man? This is pretty much the wrap of the show. So to everyone, again, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Like the video. And to everyone else, go check out Cheek. Go hit him up. And like he says, reach out to each other because that actually does help out. So to everyone, we out. Peace.